It's time to do something scary. Grab that sketchbook that's been collecting dust on your shelf and a couple of those art supplies that you've been hoarding and try some of these sketchbook activities that I know you can't mess up. These activities will help you get out of your head and into your art. These activities will even make you feel more creative. Creativity isn't a skill, it's a feeling. And the more you understand what creativity feels like for you, the more you can tap into it and overcome your fear of creating art. So let's make this easy, okay? Grab your blue painter's tape and create some crisscross patterns in your sketchbook. If you didn't watch the previous video in this series, I'm also using my Dollaroni paint that I suggested in that video. I'm going to create some gradients, and I'm going to do this by putting down a darker version of a color and then blending it into white. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be streaky, it can be watery, it can be a solid color. We're just getting some color down so we can add to it later on. If you're using the Dollaroni paint, this is a great time to start to understand how thick the paint is and how much water you might need to add to it. Or you can take this opportunity to use some of the art supplies that you've been hoarding for that special project that you just haven't gotten to yet. Once the paint dries, peel off the tape, and if the tape is ripping the paper, take a blow dryer and heat up the tape for about 5 seconds, and then try again. This next part might make you feel very uncomfortable, but stay with me. Don't run away yet. We are going to tap into your imagination. Grab a pen or a Sharpie and start to doodle. Doodle whatever comes to mind. The only rule is that each section should interact with each other. Here's what I mean. I've been watching a lot of the North Sea videos on TikTok lately, so the first thing that comes to mind for me is a boat. And it's just going to be this cute little tugboat on a bunch of waves. And these are doodle waves, they don't have to be perfect. Now the boat is going to be fishing, but it'll be fishing from the section below it. So I'm going to draw a couple of fish that are just looking at the hook, kind of like, are we going to eat it or not? Next, I'm going to draw a silly little octopus. And now I'm going to move on to the right side, which looks like a sunset to me. So I'm just going to draw a doodle sun, some palm trees, maybe some birds. Before I get too off track with my rambling, you can see that I'm just doodling. I'm having fun. I'm not thinking about what anything looks like. It's not perfect. From my experience, in order to get inspired to create or paint anything, I need to already be painting something. So if you can get yourself to paint a doodle or a drawing or do any type of activity that gets you thinking in that creative way, that's a good step in the right direction. I'm going to show you a more complex version of this doodle painting in just a minute, so stay with me. If you find yourself judging your doodles during this activity, that's normal because I was doing the same thing. Once you finish your doodles, you can go the extra mile and paint them to bring them to life. When you doodle using this brain dump method, it helps you uncover interests you might have and give you some ideas for detailed paintings. I suddenly have the urge to paint an octopus, and I didn't want to do that 5 minutes ago, so it works. You can get more detailed with these doodle paintings, or you can keep it simple. Here's an example of another one that I did, but instead of overlapping gradients, I did overlapping paintings, and then I doodled on top of them. Don't ask me why his head is so big. It's just practice, okay? Don't come after me. Don't be afraid to take this exercise to the next level and keep challenging yourself. You never know what type of inspiration might come from it and what you might create. The next activity is to create a mood board. This one is exciting because you get to play with color. You also get to paint all of those images that you've been collecting on Pinterest. This activity will force you to gather images that look appealing together. In a way, it's going to teach you about color theory without you even realizing it. If you don't have the time to collect images, use some of mine. I stopped editing this video to put together this Pinterest board just for you, and I organized it by color. The idea is that you can pick any image on this Pinterest board, and then you can choose the images around it to create your mood board. The focus for my mood board is purple and pink. The pictures I chose are pictures of things that I want to work on painting, but I'm too afraid to do them on a large scale, so I'm going to create a mood board with them instead. That way, if I do want to create a larger paintings of any of these, I know what areas I need to work on and develop further. This idea will also help you discover your art style. Which colors are you most drawn to? Are you more excited about painting nature, or do you want to paint something vibrant? As a beginner, creating a mood board in your sketchbook will help you answer some of those questions. I love painting with bright psychedelic colors, which is why I have added magenta and cyan to my personal art supply stash. As you're creating your mood board, if you notice that you can't achieve the colors in the reference photos, it might be time to add more hues and variation to your art palette. When you aren't getting the results that you want in your paintings, it's important to understand that it's not you, it's your supplies. And the more that you use the supplies that you have instead of hoarding them, the more you'll understand what you want to create and what supplies you should purchase next to achieve the results that you want. If you'd like a video about what types of supplies you should buy based on what types of subject you want to paint, go ahead and hit that like button because I can help you out with that. Did you know that the best way to learn color theory is to play around with it? You could fill an entire sketchbook using this mood board idea and exploring a different color each day. Play with as many colors as you like using different pictures, supplies, and practice your technique while you're doing it. That's why this is a fail-proof sketchbook idea. You can revisit it anytime you want and try something new or experiment with a different color palette. I'm basically giving you an excuse to play around with no consequences. So what are you waiting for? Are you getting excited? Is your mind racing with ideas yet? If it isn't, then this next idea is for you. I saved the best for last. I am going to guide you through creating an interactive sketchbook page. But first, we need to paint a landscape. It can be a galaxy, it can be a sea wave, it can be a beach scene, it can be anything you like. This concept applies to all of it. When you start this activity, make sure you leave a blank page in front of the page you decide to paint on, because we're going to be cutting that with an X-Acto knife to make this painting interactive. I chose a galaxy because for me, that's fun. I can use any type of colors I like and blend them in with my finger. Now that my galaxy painting is dry, I'm flipping over the page in front of it, but I'm putting a piece of cardboard underneath because I don't want to accidentally cut the painting I just spent all this time on. Now I'm drawing a window. And once I'm done drawing the window, I'm going to paint it and cut it out. And it'll create this really fun window scene that looks like the galaxy is peeking through. If the window isn't your thing, if you think that's too hard, you can paint a door instead. The door can open into the galaxy or the sea wave or the landscape. It's up to you. Do you see how I can just come up with ideas based on these concepts and just kind of get my creativity going? And it's making me really excited. This is why these activities will help you through art block or the projects that you're afraid of working on. Having a couple of ideas like this is all it takes to get hooked on acrylic painting. But as a beginner, it can be extremely frustrating to work with acrylics. So go ahead and check out this video next where I take some of the most frustrating things about acrylic painting and make them easy. And I'll see you there.